Hello everybody, my name is Farmer Phil and today we are putting slurry bugs into the tank. We're here with Luke from NovaQ. He's going to talk a bit about the stuff that goes into the tank and whatnot we'll put in, and then at the end then we weigh some of the bulls in that and the silage will give you a few results on that. So anyways, the slurry bug.
Very good. So the slurry is basically a product we use to improve the efficiency of slurry use on farms. So it's basically 6 strains of bacteria inside this has been brewed up in our bioreactor system up in Dublin, in our lab in Kimmage, County Dublin. So what basically it is nutrients and a bacterial source. So by using them two together, we can create an environment where when they go into an area of a high organic matter, they can break down slurries into more useful forms of nutrients, which can be spread out in land and make them more available to land. The benefits are really beneficial in terms of reducing the smells of slurry, creating more of a homogeneous mix, getting the organic matters into slurry and making it more
so it reduces the crust.
It reduces the crust, yeah. Very simple to use, and just pour it onto slats into the tank. We basically do with the first treatment is always this double dose to get the population of bacteria into the tank, and then we go from there on basically a 3-week, 4-week system where we can add another dose in half the size of the first one to get the population of bacteria up.
So it's a case, the first dose is you put in enough then to put the population there, and then it's just the top up after that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what other things? We'll be treating this tank, and obviously this tank is only a 5-foot tank and there's 50 bulls on it, and that fills often enough. So we'll be pumping it into the store below there, and that'll treat, by treating that'll end up treating the tank below.
So by the end of this treatment we hope to have a nice fluid, watery slurry inside that tank. No crusting, well, a small bit of crusting obviously of course, but
but it'll take a lot of it out.
Yeah, and it'll take drop your agitation time as well.
Yeah. So as some of you probably seen earlier in the year when I was trying to agitate the store and failed miserably after spending a whole day on a ladder trying to stir it, that should help, and it also means that treating one tank on the yard is also going to treat all the slurry on the yard, which is going to be of benefit. Yeah. We're very interested to use it and see how it does. We'll be testing it out on some of our paddocks, and we'll be measuring grass and comparing it to where we put out fertilizer and whatnot, just to see what the difference is, because the likes of this, if it can cut down on our costs of buying fertilizer and growing grass in a more environmentally friendly way, not using artificial fertilizers, it's a win-win for everyone. So we're really excited to get using it now, and it is going to be a long process. So in the spring and during the summer then when we get the cutting silage and whatnot, we'll catch up and we'll see how things are going. But for now we'll get this stuff into the tank. There's nothing else you want to add to that, is there?
No, that's it.
Yeah, so we'll get this into the tank. So it's literally just pour it in.
Open the top, pour it in straight into the tank. Doesn't need to be like in this situation. Obviously, bulls there, we don't want to be getting to the end. Yeah. So we can just pour it in from the feed rail in. We also do on-farm brews where the farmers brew their own stuff. Very simple system. He brews his own with his own bioreactor and puts it in himself.
Yeah, so then you don't have to come
down every whatever time needed.
And the farmer then is able to just top it up himself as he goes along.
Yeah, and biggest test of this, if it's working, is just get a simple stick it down into slats, and the stick is going moving down nice and slowly into it, and you have a good slurry compared to another tank where you might
have to push it into
push it in and prod it in where the homogeneous in there. Very simple.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll get it into the tank, and Bertie, stop stealing the beat off them. You devil.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Right.
Very simple to add it in. There's no
powder, no sticking to slats,
no messing or mixing, and it won't. The cattle start licking that. It's not going to do them any harm, right?
There's no harm to cattle whatsoever. No pathogens in it. It's not going to be. It's not like any bacteria source of powder that can be licked at. Do you know?
Like it's naturally occurring bacteria.
Yeah, as Pat said. Yeah.
Go on. Shh. Go back.
Very simple.
So we are back here now in the shed. It's a little bit later than when we were here earlier at NovaQ. I had to run off and do something with Father Phil. He's gone off on his adventure delivering hay, and I'm back in the yard now, so I got finished feeding. So just some of the other things I wanted to say on the bulls. When we had them out yesterday while we were emptying the tank, we weighed some of them again. Now we weighed this batch of bulls when Agriland was here with Herd Watch in that little video some of you may have seen. And the few bulls that we just run a shoe in just to see what they were like when we were going to put them back in last night, and the bulls that we weighed were averaging 1.1 kilos average daily weight gain, which is good. It's what we aim for. 1 kilo a day is the target, because at 1 kilo a day at the cost the feed is costing us, that makes it worthwhile. Otherwise, if it's below that, it's not as good. But with 1.1 kilos a day is what them bulls are averaging just on the few we weighed. And the bullocks, we've 3 bullocks in there. Big buck there, buck in there with a slug horn, and there's another lad in there as well. They were averaged, we weighed 2 of them, they averaged 0.9 kilos a day. A little bit less, but then bullocks don't thrive as well as bulls. They lack them set of balls that we took off them. But yeah, so that's just them. What they're getting, these lads have been fed, so this is what they're getting. Whole crop, first cut silage, barley and oats maximum treated, fodder beet, biscuit meal, a balancing ration which is acid buffer, soybean and maize and ground maize. That's what they're getting. Is that here? And straw, the crimped, the wrapped straw. But that's for another day. We'll have a look at the rations when I do the diet feeding video. But just on the first cut and second cut silage, we got them tested a while back. I'd never really said it, but our first cut silage, 71% DMD, which is good. It's really good. It's what you'd aim for. I think DMD goes to is a scale of like to 80, so 71 is really good. Second cut silage, different story, 66% DMD, so it's poor. It's okay. It's nothing really to be shouting about, really. It's okay. It's 66. It's shrug your shoulders kind of okay. That's purely because it was too strong when we caught it. That's one of the things that affects DMD a lot, too much stem. So yeah, that's just the silage. When we do the diet feeding video, I'll have more of the stuff like the proteins and the crude and all of that, how crack I'll have that. But yeah, I just said I covered up while I was here with these. And just to finish off this video on the stuff that we just got put in there, the bugs for the slurry, the bacteria. In my mind, the likes of that is how farming is going to go. More into your science, more into, you know, really getting in depth and nitty gritty down to your bacterias and your breaking down. And it's in the fine tuning. That's where farming is going to end up going. It's going into the real fine tuning of the job. And there is plans to do more stuff like this, showing you, as I would call it, you know, the most modern, I don't know what you call it. I can't think of future. That's the only thing that comes to my mind, is like the future tech, you could say, in farming. Even though I know slurry bugs have been around quite a while, but you know, it's something that there is plans to do a bit more on, that kind of stuff, you know, stuff you don't see too often on new bits of stuff that's coming out and that for farming. If it's something you're interested in, let me know, because there is plans to do more of that. But yeah, look, if what they put in there does what it says on the tin, it's going to be a winner. It's going to do a great job, because we treat that tank, that treats a store. So we're treating 12 load of slurry, so that's that 30,000 odd gallons, something like that, into a 150,000 gallon store. It's going to treat all that. Every time we empty it, we top it up with bacteria. That's how it works. And the first dose is a double dose to make sure to get your population of bacteria in there that's going to break it down. Also, Father Phil is interested in this, as back when before the slurry ban finished up, we were spreading on one of our usual dairy farms, and he was telling me, Father, about another dairy farmer in his area that was using slurry bugs. I don't know, is it the same as the ones we're using, but that dairy farmer was growing grass across the hedges and wasn't using any fertilizer. And that's where the biggest winning, the biggest saving. That's what makes the likes of this worthwhile, is if we can reduce the amount of artificial fertilizer we have to buy, by getting more out of our slurry, which doesn't exactly cost us a whole lot because all they do is eat and poo. So that is where the main winning is in them slurry bugs. If it does that, saves the artificial fertilizer. Like, the fertilizer is probably in the top 5 biggest bills again every animal in the pen you see. So it is. And if we can cut that down and still be able to grow the same amount and every bit has good quality grass, it's a win-win. Look, it's going to be interesting to see. We are going to do grass recording. We're going to try, if we can, make it that we can test silage that we cut with slurry that was spread on with that. It may be a little bit tricky. We're going to try. We're going to test this out as much as we can and see how effective it really is. But it's actually quite cheap. To be perfectly honest, I didn't expect it to be as cheap as it is for treating that size of a tank, and then what that tank is going to end up treating. I think it's a pretty good deal, but as I said, the proof will be in the pudding. If it does what it says on the tin, it is a winner, and it's something you will see us do every year. If it can do what it says on the tin, but I suppose time will tell. It's going to be a couple of months before we find out, when we can start getting slurry out in the spring and grass recording and silage cutting and testing. But anyways, I think I will leave it at that. So if you have any questions, anything like that, as always, hit me down in the comments down below. You want to find out more about NovaQ? There'll be links in the description down below. Maybe a phone number or not, I don't know. There'll be stuff in the description down below if you want to go check them out. If you're interested in finding out more about what you've seen or some of the other products, which we're actually going to be testing out some of the other products as well. We're going to be testing out their bacteria for the dung. We will be putting it on the bedding for the calf sheds, because the way it was explained to me, the worse the smell is of the dung or the slurry, the more ammonia is being lost, so the more nutrients is being lost, and calf shed is always the thing that smells the worst. So we're going to treat the calf shed, the dung in the calf shed, and see how that goes. And we're also trying out some of their micronutrients to go on crops, and we're doing that in our poorest bit of ground, which is in Coal Hill. It's our poorest bit. It always ends up underperforming, and we can't actually remember the last time it overperformed or performed decent. It's always underperforming, so we're going to be testing their micronutrient mix to go in the spray up there. So yeah, there'll be a bit on them other bits with them as well. But look, as I said, you want to check them out or talk to them about any stuff to do, links in the description down below. So it's that time of the week again. It's time to announce the next round of our competition that we are holding with SEALAC. This week they are giving away 3 buckets of their seaweed lick. To enter this week's competition, week 5, all you have to do is head over to their Instagram page, link in the description down below. Go to their latest post that'll be up on some stage on Sunday, and tag 2 of your friends, and make sure you like their page and like my own page. And if you want to see who won last week's competition on guessing the weight of the pallet of seaweed, I'm going to leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. That is it from me and the shed of big bad bulls. Good luck.